could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us. Say please. Could be us. Say please. Could be us. Say please. Could be us. She gotta say please. Say please.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the #1 CDL analyst / content creator in the world. And you know what? I was able to piece together enough stuff to maybe get through an hour-long podcast. Because like, man, there's really nothing to talk about here. But then I started going through some Twitter, some stuff I had saved, some stuff that just happened today, and I was like, you know what, I could string this into an hour. If there's anyone that could string a yap session into an hour, it is your boy Borito. So that's what we're going to get into. The Borito Talk podcast, available on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and right here on YouTube. Let's get right into it, baby. So I guess we're going to start off with the FaZe Vegas announcement, the one we already knew with the roster, but what we didn't know was the actual branding. We saw the rumored trademark, whatever. Shout out to whoever even got that. There's some snoopers on the internet. There's some people just finding shit out. I would never even thought to go on the American trademarks, and I would have never even thought about that. I don't even care that much, so that's why. So FaZe announced FaZe Vegas. We're going to play through this. So for those of you on video, those of you on Spotify, you guys could watch along. But I think everyone's pretty much seen this FaZe Vegas thing. I like how the card stuff looks. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to play the music just in case copyrights, but I kind of like how the card stuff looks. I'm not going to lie. But we're going to get into the branding a bit. I like the way this looks, but I expected a bigger announcement video. I don't know why. I expected actual in-person type videos. That's what I expected. But we ended up getting this shot right here. This shot right here makes the logo look so bad. This shot right here. I like the way the words look. I like the way FaZe and Vegas looks, but the actual VF logo, okay, so I got some thoughts on this. So I'm going to start off. I have a bunch of tabs open here. So we're going to be we're going to be going through tab after tab. So the first one I want to go through is this guy in the Zoo Mafia Reddit, but it wasn't actually him. It was another guy who tweeted this logo concept. So this guy named Arcane, but the 4 is like an A. So it's 4 Arcane. And in 10 minutes, he came up with a FaZe logo concept. He said, I wanted to make it feel more like the FaZe logo. It makes more sense. More FaZe, less Vegas. And this just made me think, seeing this logo and how good it looks, I'm thinking, the same thing I think for a lot of things, in a lot of different sports and entertainment. But I just think, how many people this have to clear in order to actually make it out to the public onto the shelf? That's the first thing I think of. How many people did this clear? How many okays did this get in order to get out? And everyone was okay with it. I'm assuming this even went by the players as well before it went out, I would assume. I don't think they're just dropping this and everyone, oh, whoa, wow, for the first time. I think that looks cool. This looks significantly better, and all he did was make the F more of a FaZe logo. How does the actual FaZe organization not even think about that? How does this guy think of that stuff? I think this top right one looks so tough. This one right here, and even the way he did how it starts off with pink and fades into more of a purple. This right here, this top right second one. For those of you on video, sorry for those of you on audio, but I think this one looks so tough. This is the toughest one. So you compare this to the logo that you saw here. I could even pull it up, but You compare this to this, it's like, come on. Like, the F could have been more of a FaZe thing and still had the exact same thing. How did they not come up with this? It's not too late to change it. Like, the season hasn't started yet, but I mean, it is too late because they already like dropped merch and everything. So this was definitely confirmed for like a long time if they already have merch out. But man, how does this guy in 10 minutes come up with this? You can even see some people in the comments. This is the rightful logo. I want to make someone actually. People are saying this is so much better. This looks great. This guy said this should have been the new FaZe logo. And then someone said, yeah, like they paid the wrong guy. Like this is way better. Such a failed rebrand. I can't even speak. Such a failed rebrand logo from FaZe. This fan understood the assignment in 10 minutes. Like, dude, this logo is way better. Even the way this, oh my god, this guy even came with a better logo. I don't know who made this, but this one, oh, that looks hard. That actually looks hard. This one actually goes tough. Oh my god. Yo, who came up with this one? This one looks insane, actually. This looks so hard. And I get people saying with the whole, like, how are you not black and red? Those were the original FaZe colors. I can understand that part. But, you know, I actually don't mind the pink. I don't mind the pink. But I do feel when it comes to jerseys, their jersey shouldn't be pink. I'm fine with it being in, like, the brand. But when it comes to the color, dude, for jersey, if you want to even do, like, if you do, like, a bold red and near the bottom, like, so sort of faded into, like, a pink, like the one in the logo, I would not mind that. I would actually kind of go hard. But I feel like for at least the jersey, you got to, like, maintain some sort of black and red. Like, last year they had, like, black jerseys. I didn't understand it at all. Like, unless it's, like, an away jersey. But they didn't even have, like, the actual OG red ones, which was very confusing. But I actually like the color. I actually like how pink looks for it. Like, I like that part of the branding. But this is probably the ugliest avatar I've ever seen in my life. This is probably the ugliest avatar I've ever seen in my life. I can't even lie. And I was even talking about it last week when I was like, I like the VF, but I don't like how VF looks when they put Vegas underneath it. And this just looks absolutely horrendous. I can't even lie. This looks absolutely horrendous. Like, even their Twitter at, I know it's probably not much available because people probably scheming on the low taking it, but FaZe _ Vegas, it looks so ugly. Like, it all just looks bad. Yeah, I don't know. It looks bad to me. I like certain concepts of the logo, but even the announcement video, like, I'm thinking they're going to do some grand thing, you know, brand new roster. Like, this should have been like a side video. This should have been like a part of the announcement video. Like, there should have been like some in real life section to the announcement video, but they just like did the cards thing and that was it. I don't know. Anticlimactic to me. I always like expect roster announcement videos to be so grand, a lot more grand, but people, they're just, I guess, not as creative. Like, it's just like, it just shows everyone with the cards, like, no grand, like, opening or anything. It's just, like, pretty plain. Like, that looks really bad. I think this concept from Arcane is probably, like, the best thing I've ever seen in terms of, like, the branding. Like, look, this looks so much better. Looks so much better. Absolutely better. Even the words look better. Even the words look better than the one that the FaZe Vegas one has. The words look way better. This looks so much tougher. So much tougher. But, you know, I just, like, don't understand how it, like, passes so many people and some random fan comes up with, like, they should have just opened up to the public, but I mean, that would just completely give away because they want it to be a surprise. But I mean, there's not really surprises nowadays. Everyone pretty much knows. You should have just reached out to the public, honestly. I'm sure you have enough resources to like find these sort of graphic people. Like, this guy was just like there. Like, who is this Arcane guy? Creative engineer. He's not followed by anyone I follow, so I don't even know who he knows in the scene, but his stuff is way better, honestly. I don't even think he does anything he doesn't really do anything for esports, but dude, this guy's great. Came up with a way better logo, looks way tougher. But yeah, this FaZe logo for me, just not doing it. just not doing it for me. Even the merch, like, who's gonna buy? I mean, I'm sure there's already people buying it, so I mean, this is just my opinion. There's nothing I hate worse than when brands just do like a white tee and then it's just, I mean, certain brands could get away with it. Like, I feel like Optic like could get away with it. Like, I would actually probably buy like just like a plain black or white tee with an Optic logo in the middle, but I don't know. I would not buy this. I don't know if it's just me. There's probably like certain things, certain brands that could probably get away with it, but I don't know. I don't like the way the merch looks. Let's actually go through the merch right here live on Borito Talk. Let's go through the merch. Where is the, because I think they had a link for it. FaZeVegas.com. I like how the pig looks, but I don't like the, like, look how bad it looks on the, jersey. I like this graphic though, like the one with the cards has all their thing. I like that. Four of a kind looks tough, but take a look at like the tees and everything. Just, yeah, I like the dice one, but everything else just looks really bad. Like, I don't like the way like the words look. Like, that's probably like the worst tee I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie, but I don't know if that's just me. It's just like I would never buy these, even if I mean, I have the money to buy it, but like, dude, even if I was a millionaire, I would not buy this. Like, I don't know, just not good. But I like certain aspects of the branding. Like, I like the FaZe Vegas branding, but in terms of the actual logo and the words, how they did it, they could have did so much better. It's not too late to rebrand. It's not too late, but I mean, it probably is too late. They're gonna stick with it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people you're gonna be seeing like the FaZe Vegas merch. I don't know. And then you got Zuma's reaction. So, like, Zuma on his alter ego account goes, "How are we feeling about the FaZe Vegas rebrand?" And then this guy, oh, that was actually Chelly that said that. He said, "Not to be that guy, but FaZe lost all aura. That red FaZe logo is a staple of Comp COD." One guy says, "I like it," but everyone else, some guy did like the poop emoji, like the ice cream that looks like poop from the butt. Looks like pile of white dog shit. I love the pink, to be honest, but I get why people are upset and say it doesn't feel like. I think the black and pink jerseys will be some of the best in the league. Yeah, I don't mind that part. I don't mind like the pink. I really don't mind the pink. It's more just how the logo looks in the words. Logo looks a bit awkward. Should have just been Las Vegas FaZe. You know, everyone's got different opinions, but I think it looks not that great. And I'm already skipping ahead every time I close a tab. But, I mean, how do we feel about the actual roster now? It's announced. Simp, Draza, 04 Booza. I think I talked about it last week, but now it's actually announced. I mean, it's all right. I mean, we're going to get more into that when I talk about rosters, like, in a deeper episode. When I talk about rosters in a deeper episode, when we actually go through all the rosters and I could actually compare how they're going to do against everyone else, then we're going to start ranking the rosters and we'll have lots of videos on those. But as for the FaZe Vegas rebranding, I mean, I'm not sure if this section was like bad audio because it's me like just going through. I'm not sure how it is for the audio. I'm always tweaking about the audio. I always try to keep the audio viewers in mind whenever I do podcasts, because like even like GG Breaking Point podcast, like a lot of times you could tell they're just doing it for YouTube. There's a lot of awkward pauses and like, you know, whatever. But, you know, I'm not talking about other people. But yeah, absolutely. And so Simp's thing. Also, I don't care what anyone says about the new branding. The new branding and color scheme is sick. I can't even read today. This is actually insane. Bro, to be honest, I think FaZe is sick, but purple FaZe anyway, red. Yeah, everyone just like yapping. But, I mean, that's a PR move I've ever seen one. I don't care what anyone says. The branding is sick. I like the color scheme. I do like the color scheme. The branding, the concept of the branding, like even like this right here, this goes tough. Like in the announcement video with like the lights on the FaZe logo, but I mean that was the Atlanta FaZe logo. Actually, now I think about it, that's the Atlanta FaZe logo. Never mind. But this looks ugly. That looks ugly. Like. It could have did the app exactly like the Arcane guy did it, and it would have looked way better. But, yeah, but that's just me. And yeah, anticlimactic announcement video in my eyes, but we're going to get into what are we going to get into? Wow, I just flew through that like Atlanta FaZe part. What the hell? I swear there was more to talk about with that, but yeah, the branding's like all right. But I want to get into this one. So Breaking Point tweeted out, after 6 years of playing together, the FaZe trio are officially parting ways. Which one made the best choice? And it has a BZ, Celium, and Simp and their overall KDs from 6 years of playing together, and then their overall champs KDs. So a BZ's overall KD in their time playing together was a 1.05. MC's was a 1.18. Crazy. And then Simp's was a 1.08. And then here's where it gets interesting. The champs KDs. A BZ's champs KD over the span of them playing together, a 1.08. Celium, 1.22. Insane again. And Simp, 0.98 overall champs KDs from all the time they spent playing together. Very, very interesting. Like, when you put into perspective like this, it really does make me question Simp even more. But, I mean, we have to take into account his role on the team a lot of those years. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think he did really good at MW3 champs. I think he did good at that champs, but that was like the year he actually got the free roam. And I think he did good at Cold War champs, but then you take in the Vanguard, the MW2, and even Black Ops 6, which is like no excuses, but he did bad in all those. So I guess that averaged out to the negative KD, but who do we think is going to do the best? Probably a BZ with the team he's ending up on, but I think, as you can see from Simp, so we're going to get into another thing from Simp, actually. We're going to get right into that. I'm going to move that tab over here. So Simp did an interview with Ronnie Intel. Apparently it was like a 5-minute interview because it was like 3-4 questions. It was fucking done. But we're going to go through this interview and we're going to react to some of the things he's been saying. So I'm actually going to read this. This is like nice story time. This is nice audio. This is nice audio right here. So today we sit down with 2-time world champion Chris Simp Lear to discuss the disappointing end to FaZe's Black Ops 6 season, one that saw the legendary trio finally split. We also cover the exciting FaZe Vegas rebrand and Simp's ambitions heading into Black Ops 7. Exciting FaZe rebrand, come on. So Ronnie starts off with asking Christopher Simp Lear, how did you feel heading into champs after winning the first 2 events, then hitting a slump? Were you still confident about securing that 3rd ring? Simp then replies, I was always extremely confident we could win every event, even after the slump. We were putting in a ton of work to try to get back to where we were, and it felt like we could always pull out the win. You know, that sounds like some Simp would say. I hear him say they're always extremely confident, even in times where it looks like they got no idea what's going on. But I do appreciate that he is pretty confident. I mean, they won the first 2 events. Why would they not be confident? They were pretty much, I'm not even saying they're barreling everyone. Like, even the way they won Major 2, was such a Neslo. And you can be confident just because you won that and you won back-to-back. But that second Major was a lot more unconvincing in my eyes. Actually, wait, is that the one against Vancouver? I might be talking about Major 1 then. Either or, one of those was, I think it was actually Major 1. That's a lot more not convincing. Actually, I want to say it was Major 2. Anyways, oh my god, I'm just confused. But even when they were winning, they were nezzling a lot. They were getting hard points. It was against like teams that were like not as great at hard point, but their hard point was such a struggle, and you can't really depend on S&D all the time because even if you're a really good S&D team, you know, anything could happen in S&D, and you could lose just like random rounds, you know. Like S&D is a very skill-based game type, and the better team is going to win majority of the time, but you know, you can lose S&D. So it's not like they were putting a lot into their S&Ds, but being good at S&D and control, like the swing mode and the game that's 2 out of 5 of the maps, you know, it seems like pretty logical. But you know, going 50-50 on your chances of wanting to win that map number 1 is not really good. You know, I feel like being a good hardpoint team like should be paramount, because it's like the opener. You lose that first map, you go into S&D. If you're good enough at S&D, I feel like being good at hardpoint and S&D should be priority, because control is not a hard game type to understand. It's never been a hard game type for me to understand, honestly. It's required like pulling the least amount of effort. You just really have to know spawns and how to manipulate spawns and where to push and how to, and like when you should hold the hill compared to when you should be off the hill. It's not a game mode that I feel takes a lot of time to master, but as you can see from a lot of teams playing the whole year, I mean, they had a hard time mastering it. So, I mean, who knows? But okay, we're getting back to this interview. Off on a tangent. Second question, Ronnie asks him, after champs, did you feel the team struggles would carry into EWC, or was there still a belief you could match last year's performance? Simp replies, as you could probably expect, the team fully believed we could win EWC, especially with how the prior year went. I definitely didn't think it would be easy, though, especially with the downward trend we were on. I mean, that's pretty valid. I mean, you're a competitor. You believe you could win. So, I'm going to let that one slide. Okay, we're going to go to the third question. Ronnie asks, what do you think went wrong at both events? Did it feel like the right time to part ways after such a long run? Simp then replies, I blame myself for champs a decent bit, as do most people. I feel like, as a whole, for the end of the year, our team never could find the rhythm and flow state where all four of us couldn't worry about anything but ourselves. After EWC, I think we all felt it was time for a change. Interesting. Where do we start with this one? So he says, I feel like as a whole, for the end of the year, our team never could find that rhythm and flow state where all four of us couldn't worry about anything but ourselves. Wait, hold on. All four of us couldn't worry about anything but ourselves. Interesting. Well, there's just so many different things with FaZe. I mean, there's so many different things. I feel like they didn't have a good grasp of, it felt like times it's like they were on completely different pages, like not really actually, it felt like half the team was on page and the other team and the other half like was not. There felt a lot of scenarios like they were not communicating with each other, but I feel that same way about like a lot of teams. I could get into FaZe, like I could get into them a lot, and I mean I already have throughout the whole year, so just like regurgitating stuff that I said about like the way that they play with each other would just be a disservice. But yeah, the reason why they can never find that rhythm though is because there was glaring obvious issues in hardpoint that were never addressed. Glaring issues like the match against Miami Heretics, that Skyline hardpoint in DWC, the first half of that map, it looked like they actually did their homework. I was believing everything Simp said in that first half of that Miami Heretics Skyline hardpoint. You could tell every mistake that they made in the past, they were correcting. I think they made one slight mistake, but they easily readjusted and were able to bounce back. So that was great. Like they were actually playing good for that first half. And then for some reason in the second half, one or two people, one of them maybe named Tyler Ferris-Abizi, just started regressing, just said, F all this progress, I'm going to go back to just costing. Okay, that sounds bad. But I think Simp's sugarcoating it a lot. Our team can never really find that rhythm. I think the reason why he's staying with Draza, even though Draza at one point was a free agent, there's some things I'm thinking here. I'm thinking Simp was open to just exploring options by, everyone leaving and him just being able to have the pick of the litter. But I think very quickly certain AR options were not available, and Draza's like a top 3 flex in the game. And I think he knows like Draza plays the game good. Like pretty much 95% of the time. The only inconsistency Draza has is sometimes he just, for some reason, cannot get kills anymore and just plays like a shitter. I have no idea why. Just plays like a shitter. I don't know why. and it happened like 3 majors in a row. That's not really good when like it comes to wanting to depend on people, because you know even the superstars not always gonna be playing well, and if he's not playing well and other people just always aren't playing well, you know, that's not really a good balance. Not really fun for Christopher Lear. So I think the second there weren't really that many like top flex AR options. So I think in his mind he probably always had draws as an option. I would probably just like a little renegotiation of the contract, but you can't get scrap. You're not going back to MC. If we're talking about flexes, by the way, I think they tried to get Rencor, but I think that was like the main thing. I think they were gonna get Rencor, but then, you know, Miami's not gonna fucking budge on that. So I think that just fell through. And I think once they couldn't get Rencor, that was pretty much the only like logical option for flex options to pair with Simp. There's not really like, I'm gonna open up this Roster Mania tab. There was him, and I think at the time Ghosty probably wasn't available, but I don't think Simp would have wanted Ghosty. So if you look at AR, I don't think he would have wanted Kenny either, to be honest. And then pretty much like no one else seemed like no other like good, like no really other good ARs, flex ARs were available like on the echelon that I think Simp would respect enough to play with. So Draza was kind of like the no-brainer, but for most of the time Draza plays the game correctly. I think him, just like Simp, I think MC and Abizi were the main culprits, and that's why they're not on the team. Otherwise, they would definitely be on the team. I think those two were the main culprits for a lot of the bad stuff happening on the map. No matter how good of a player, like I sing their praises to the moon. Abizi, one of the greatest players of all time, top 3 S&D player of all time, like probably like one of the greatest entry fraggers of all time. MC just super consistent in KD, even though like sometimes, you know, could be a little bit to like a detriment, but you know, just S tier players. But when it comes to doing the right shit, no matter how good of a 4 you have, when people just aren't doing the right shit and it's consistent, you know, eventually you just got to put your foot down. And I think that's why Draza and Simp are together. And I even said this last year, like I think Draza and Simp should stay together and find 2. And here it is happening. So that's good. That's good. That's good stuff right there. So we're going to get back to this interview after I take a sip of my water real quick. Okay. So sorry for that dead time. But Ronnie asks, you once said, if I don't retire with the BZ as my duo, something went wrong. Looking back, what went wrong, or was it more about budget issues? Interesting question. Simp then replies, I think the trio as a whole felt like we needed to separate, to be honest. With the BZ specifically, towards the end of us teaming, I felt like we stopped bouncing off each other as easily like we used to. Interesting. I mean, hate to break it to you, Simp. But I think you guys stopped bouncing off each other like after Cold War. Actually, I'll give you a little bit of grace period. After Vanguard. I'll actually say after Vanguard. I have to go back and watch how you guys played in Vanguard, but I think it was after Vanguard. I think for the most part, you guys pretty much had a good enough dynamic in Vanguard because you guys both hated the game. But I think after that, the dynamic was because after Cold War, FaZe's dynamic was one person does good and the other one has a bad year. That's pretty much what it was. Like in Vanguard, it was pretty 50-50, I would say, which is why I'm not including Vanguard. But MW2, Simp backseat, Abizi way better at that game. MW3, Simp finally gets to be free. Abizi takes the backseat. Simp gets MVP. Black Ops 6, Simp took a backseat, but he still did better than Abizi, but the dynamic was just still fucked up. Simp's taking the bomb, Simp's hopping on the hill, Abizi gets to do whatever he wants, but he's not making the correct decisions a lot of the time. Dynamic's fucked up. And I even said this as the year was going on. The way Simp and Abizi look on the map, it looks nothing like Hook and Shotzi like at the end of the year when they actually started finally fucking gelling, even though they've been a duo forever. But or they've been friends forever, but the way Shotzi and Hook played at the end of the year, you could actually see the chemistry. You could see the way they're actually playing with each other. Even when they're not together on the map, there's a synergy there with what they're doing and how one affects the other. I never felt Simp and Abizi having that synergy, even watching their arrows. It didn't really feel like they were ever on the same page. Like, it never really looked like that, honestly. It just looked like two good players on the map that were doing good, but it never really looked like Simp and Abizi are like doing this together. They're influencing the map in this way. It always felt like they had more of a better partnership with like the ARs more than each other. That's what it always felt like to me. But they're just really, really good players, so it always just looked like, wow, they're such a good duo. But when you actually like look, if we're talking about Black Ops 6, like if we're talking about Black Ops 6, you know, didn't look at all like they played off each other. But yes, so I'm glad Sim finally realized that. But I think it just started to become more evident towards the end of the year and towards the end of them teaming together that it just like was not working. But it was clear years ago, to be honest. Like, at least like for me, it was clear years ago. I was saying this shit in MW3. Yeah, but no one wanted to listen, and then like they finally do it. So I mean, it is what it is. Is what it is. Now Ronnie says, on a more positive note, how excited are you to remain with FaZe and step into the new era as FaZe Vegas? Simp says, this upcoming season is the most I've been excited for a year of Call of Duty in quite some time. With the new branding too, I feel like it's a little bit of a fresh start with everything that's happened this offseason. Everything Simp says, I could actually imagine him actually saying it because obviously he did this interview. But yeah, I mean, like, the branding could use some work. I think the reason why he's excited, because I did see him say it was somewhere on Twitter or something. Actually might have been in this interview, actually. Hold on. We're not done yet. So Ronnie says, it's been a wild offseason, but how thrilled are you to be teaming up with the Booza and 04? What made them the right choice? Okay, this is where it was. Simp says, I'm extremely excited to be teaming with the Booza and 04. Both bring a ton to the table, and I feel like both of them will help me be the player I want to be. So this right here is the main thing. But I broke this down a bit. I've gone through some gameplay. I think Abuza definitely fits exactly what Sim's saying. Have my question marks on 04. Is he going to be able to comfortably change the way he plays a little bit? Because for the years he's been playing, he's only been playing 2 years. He's been playing the same way. So I'm curious, because there's some players who, we can use AG for example. When you come in playing a certain way and you always get to play that way, having to all of a sudden switch it up and having to perform to a high level, could be a little bit of a challenge, especially since 04 is like really new, like really, really new. And you know what? This is a big step up for him. Like, congrats to him being able to take this step so early on in his career. There's a lot of people play their whole career will never be able to get on a team like Optic or FaZe. So him getting on FaZe in his 3rd year, I mean, really good for him. Really good for him. Really happy for him. Is he the right fit in my eyes? I don't think so. He may be a good fit because I'm sure, because he hasn't won anything, it's not like he's gonna like ego Simp, like, nah, nigga, you grabbing the bomb, like, you grabbing the bomb and shit. No, I don't think he's gonna do that. I don't think he's gonna do that. I'll be mind blown if I watch them play SND for the first time and Simp's grabbing the bomb. I will have some words to say, because it will be exactly like I've been saying in my streams and my videos, just a lesser version of a BZ. Just a way lesser version of a BZ in my eyes, to be honest. But that's how I always felt, to be honest. That's how I've always felt. But we'll see the dynamic. We have to really wait for the game to come out to see this 04 dynamic and how it actually plays. I know Abuza is going to slot right in. Abuza is like an ultimate hill kid, has no problem doing that stuff. He's a very selfless player, but he's also a very good player. He wins a lot of big gunfights, a lot more selfless of an AR than MC is. MC is like, they sort of play at the same pace, but Abuza is a lot more useful. He's a lot more useful like than MC is. No offense to MC. And he cares about his KD a lot less. He's actually a player that's like trying to just win the game, knows how to play with his team. He bounces off his SMGs a lot better than MC does. But as for 04, I mean, I still think they definitely should have got Neptune. Mind blown about it. Talked about it last week, but guess they just didn't want him. They're bringing in 04. I think Simp really admires the fact that he's good at S&D. I think Simp always wants to keep a team that's good at S&D. So I think him, 04, Draza, definitely licking his lips at that. And then Abuza could basically just fucking watch the flank, play the island, fuck, do whatever. So I think him, 04, and Draza are going to have some fun in S&D. I think that was another thing he was really looking forward to. And I think when it comes to Hardpoint, he now thinks that he has pieces around him that will be a lot more selfless and allow him to just be like the free roaming player that he wants to be and get the best out of him. So that's what he thinks. And hopefully it actually works out like that. But I just want to see how 04 plays. I want to see that dynamic. Can't wait to see that dynamic in the first game. You guys could expect the YouTube videos right when they play like that first hard point. And yeah, I just can't wait to see that. And then he says, with Draza still on your side, you'll face off against long-term teammates Selim and Abizi. Looking forward to those grudge matches. Sim says, I'm definitely looking forward to shooting a body or two this year. Let's go, man. I mean, I've always said this. I mean, I'm not going to say I've always said this, but I said this recently. Like, Simp and Abizi have respect for each other. But I'm sure there was some animosity when it comes to like what they wanted to do on the map, which is why it looked like so bad, especially towards the end of the year. But they're never going to say that stuff out loud, you know. They have a lot of respect for each other. But I think there was some, you know, I think there was some small beef there with certain aspects of the game, you know. I think there's some tension there. And so I think it actually will come out like when the teams play off against each other. I think we'll see more of like the you know, start shooting by, you know, maybe talking shit across the stage like, yo, you needed me. You freaking needed me. You know, we're going to be seeing some stuff like that. And then the final question Ronnie asks, finally, what are the team's expectations for the season? I want to win champs, Sim says. I want another ring. I've always won a tourney or two a year, and it's never felt like enough. Well, you're right. It hasn't been enough. Will they win champs, though? I mean, it's a long time from now. It's like another 9 months from now where we're actually gonna see that, but probably another 10 months. But I have to see how the team plays first. But I don't really see them winning champs, to be honest. I don't really see it. This was not the roster to win champs, but I just think they're one piece off. I think they're like the 04 piece off of being like a team in that bracket. But I think I'm just heavily doubting 04 a lot, so I think I need to just give them, just see how they play. But obviously teams' game styles evolve throughout the year as well, so yeah, I know I'm just not convinced by that 04 thing. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of inconsistencies, and Simp's going to be in a role where like he gets to do everything, but he's going to have to really do a lot. And I think Abuza in 04 will actually help free up Draza more, like to be more of a standout player, probably help him in the kills department a bit more. But Simp and Draza are not like Scrap and Hydra. Like, they're not like completely selfish players where it's to like a detriment of the other half of the team. Like, Simp and Draza still have the selfless tendencies in them as well. So I think the dynamic of the team looks good on paper. I just want to see how it actually plays out, to be honest. So that's like the Simp interview. What's the next thing we're gonna go into? Okay, we're going to go into this. So we're going to play this minute and a half. I'm actually going to be interrupting it in the middle of him talking. So this is Methodz talking about the CDL being a friendship league. He thinks it's not a friendship league. How many times has Hook been dropped? Probably the only example you could actually say, by the way. But we're going to play this and interrupt it while he yaps about it.
Even close with in the CDL. See, that's the thing, bro. It's not a friendship league. I will debate this with anybody any day of the week. I do not think this is a friendship league. Nearly at all, right? Like, look at Looney for Rocker. Like, do you think Looney is close with Gwyn or Skies or any of these guys? The answer is no. I'll tell you right now, before I joined Boston.
Not gonna lie, it's not really like a great example, to be honest. Not really a great example. It's like just a brand new team. Like, they had to try something out. And to be honest, Looney's not really going to be close with a lot of players. He was in a completely different era of Call of Duty. So it's like pretty much almost everyone he's close with. I mean, is like not even there. So horrible example.
In Breach, I wasn't very familiar with Dens and Zed at all. We became friends through that process.
Yeah, but like, how many friends are you actually gonna like have like in like the league? Like, everyone does not know everyone. That's also like another thing. It's like people that were already like behind like the scenes. So I mean, I don't know. That's not really. These aren't good examples.
Same with Marky B. I mean, Marky B was a close friend of mine on Ultra, and he benched me. So it's not.
I mean, the reason why he benched you, I mean, you could say you're close friends with Marky B, but Marky B is like, from the United Kingdom, and that whole team was like all from like Europe. So I think it was like everyone against you by proxy. Like, I think he was more friends with other people than you. It'd make more sense if he said me and Marky B were like the bestest of friends, and then he still benched me. You could say you're good friends with him, but he's probably already good friends with Inside and Kleenex and everybody else, and that's like majority over you. Terrible example again.
Not a friendship league, man. I'll argue that every day of the week.
Yeah, let's argue it.
Challengers get opportunities every single year. We're seeing more and more talent make its way into the league every single year.
Yeah, because, look, some teams just too bad. Some teams just do. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, okay, I'm just gonna let him keep talking.
How many times has Hook been dropped? It ain't friendship. Exactly, bro. Sometimes decisions suck, and sometimes you make the wrong decision. Sometimes you make the right
That's the only good example, by the way.
decisions, but
it's only one.
I really don't think it's a friendship league. Like, bro, Lamar, who was coach of Cloud9 last year, is best friends with Attach. And they moved on from Attach for EWC.
Okay, but you have to think about it, though. Moved on with Attach for EWC. They were ass the whole year. Okay? They were ass the whole year. So he was fine with being asked the whole year. That's friendship shit to me. Because that change really should have been made minimum, like at the latest after Major 2. But you still kept them. Still kept doing bad. He waited till the end of the year. How's that even an example? Change him for EWC. It's the end of the year. Who cares? Like, No
one on Optic was friends with Mercules. He got picked up.
Yeah, because Hex intervened. Hex made a divine intervention.
Caesar was close friends with Ant and everybody. He got benched. Like,
that's not really a good example either because, like, they're friends. But I think people are saying friendship league, like, it's just, like, not a good example. It's not a good example. Like, Hex made a divine intervention in there. Like, nobody actually wanted to do it. Hex made a divine intervention.
Like, it's not a friendship league. I'll argue this every day.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up a tab here. I'm gonna open up like the breaking point tab here. So let's go through some teams. So Boston Breach was the ultimate example of a friendship league this year. Cammy, Awakening, Purge, Snoopy, all from challengers, all into the league. Wasted a whole year doing absolutely nothing because, like they were already friends from challengers. They could all stay in the league because they all knew each other. They weren't going to drop each other. Played the whole year. Didn't accomplish anything. Cool. Carolina, Slasher, and TJ probably have no right playing together anymore, but, decided to go on to Carolina. Waste the whole year doing nothing. Cool. Cloud9, already talked about it. Accuracy, Dante, Attach, Cramp, Mac, all fucking friends, all friends. I mean, granted, like they changed Mac or fucking look whatever, but that team forming friendship league, they moved on from Mac after a certain point in time, sure, but Dante, Attach, Accuracy pretty much played the whole fucking year together, like before making a change. Didn't accomplish anything. Probably should have made a change way sooner because they were playing really bad. Atlanta FaZe. Fuck, LAG's LAG. I mean, even the starting roster was really for friends anyway. LA Thieves doesn't count. Miami doesn't count. Rocker, Estriel, Geo, Nero, all friends. Granted, they dropped Paul X, but, he had to do really bad for a long time before, had to put the foot down eventually. Can't do bad for over 2 months, got to do something about that. But, you know, like the rest of them stayed together all year, didn't do anything. We're playing stupid Call of Duty for pretty much almost the whole year. Still stuck it out together. Even EWC still stuck it out. Didn't make any changes. Mind-blowing. Optic is Optic. We just talked about them. Falcons, not really a friendship league because they just like picked up a bunch of different players. Kleenex and Insight being together for how many years? You know, like that's peak fucking friendship. And then I guess fucking Vancouver's Vancouver, so not really much to say about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, not really. It's 100% a friendship league to an extent. You know, there's a lot of players. You know, when players are doing really bad for long periods of time, of course, like you're gonna have to like drop them at some point. But there's a lot more. There's 95% of the examples lean towards friendship league than the 5% that does not. And I could argue that all day. But yeah, that's Methodz. Get that one out of here. We're gonna get into Boston. So this news just dropped today, September 21st, 11:39 a.m. So this is from Ronnie Intel. I'm going to read this out because I like reading things. Boston Breach is holding on to its core roster after a strong season in which the franchise won $430,000 in prize money over the course of the season, which is actually great for them. I fucking said they did bad, but you know, in terms of prize money, they did good, but they didn't win anything, but they had some good placings. Having parted ways with Joseph Awakening Conley following the Esports World Cup, the franchise was on the lookout for a new fourth. The organization is now targeting a new flex player to boost consistency, with former Vancouver Surge standout Byron Nastie Plumridge emerging as the front runner. Sources confirm that Miami inquired about it acquiring Boston's franchise star Eric Snoopy Perez, though talks never advanced. Keeping Snoopy together with Evan Purge Perez was a priority this offseason. Boston believed to have stabilized financially over the past year and is now in a position to aggressively pursue Nastie after his breakout CDL campaign. His 2024 season included 4 Grand Finals appearances plus runs to both champs and the Esports World Cup. If completed, the Boston Breach lineup would feature a Black Ops 7 roster, of Cammy, Nastie, Snoopy, Purge, with Shawnee and Magic as the coaches. So, where do we start with this one? Poor Nastie is probably where I'm going to start. I think he's proved so much, even before this MW3, even before this Black Ops 6 season. I actually had high regards for him. I always thought he played the game very correct. He's a very good piece. We saw it a lot in MW3. I was always thinking he was on an upward trajectory. And then he got into like the Vancouver team, which was still pretty average, which just goes to show it's a friendship league, because Nastie had a really good year in MW3, especially like near the end. I thought he was going to get onto a better team. Didn't. Got onto that Vancouver team, which with Hixie was a really bad team, but with Neptune turned into a top 2 team in the game. But had a good year there. I'm thinking this next year he's going to get, if not onto a top 4 team, get onto like that 5th, 6th team. Ends up on this Boston Breach team. And I'm thinking, what the heck, man? You know, there's certain aspects of this I like, but I'm looking at it from the POV of the year Nastie had. From the year he had, I don't think he should be ending up on this Boston team. But, you know, I'm saying that, but I also think Snoopy, very good. I think Purge is very good. But I don't think Cammy's playing very good. I feel if they upgraded that AR spot with Cammy, this would have been a pretty good roster. And, you know, I probably would have been saying a little bit different about it. But I think it's pretty much a carbon copy of their Boston year, except Nastie's just way better than Awakening. But in terms of, you know, I don't think the slaying gets any better. Like, Nastie's never been known as like a super duper slayer. Like, he could get kills, he could have good high kill games, but he's never been that guy. So that doesn't really solve that. You know, it doesn't really solve that. Cammy, you know, hasn't been good since Cold War. Everyone thought he was good after 1 year and held him to that standard, not realizing, you know, that was just like an anomaly year. And he was never actually like an S tier player. That was just like a good year. But ever since then, I mean, like, we've seen how he actually is. He's just an average player. No offense. Smart player to an extent, but average player. Hasn't recovered since Cold War. So I think Nasty, if anything, is probably ruining his stock, and I think he's just gonna now just coast in like that middle to lower tier pack for probably the rest of his career, just based off of this one move. He would have been better off getting a Gentlemate's team, but I'd love to like see if he actually had talks with getting on that team, and then he just didn't get on it. They got for Dante instead. I'm curious because if he was on the Gentlemate's team, I actually would have been like, that's a lot more. That's a lot more acceptable place for him to land. But with the year that he just had, getting all the seconds he had and ending up on Boston, even though I do have high hopes for Snoopy and Purge, but they just weren't able to put it together. I think once again, I'm just repeating myself. I think it's that other AR spot, it's that other AR spot that's really throwing me for a loop here. But I feel once again this Boston team's gonna have like pretty good teamwork. Like once again, I feel they're going to take a little bit of a step up, but I mean, you're kind of expecting more from Nasty in this position, and maybe it's actually something he wants. Maybe he actually wants to be more of a player that could influence a game in the kill department, so maybe he's trying to take that next step that he hasn't taken because he's always been like a role player, a very good role player. I think he's actually trying to like maybe show he could do more. I think that has to do with possibly. But I have high hopes for Snoopy and Purge, but especially after the year Snoopy had, like if before Black Ops 6 I had no hope, but I mean he does pass the eye test, and I know it's capable. I know he's capable, but yeah, I mean he has no experience around him to like actually really grow as a player. I feel he's kind of like figuring it out on his own type of shit. He doesn't really have like a good experienced team around him to like show him another way, show him more ways of how to play the game correctly. Like he's a player that when he's popping off, he's popping off. If not, he's kind of just like there for the most part. But skill wise, like super duper talented. But this Boston team, I mean, a solid like fifth at the most. They probably could get like a fourth maybe at an anomaly event where like some top teams get out a bit earlier. But in terms of like, I don't think this team's going to be averaging second place like that Vancouver team. I don't think it's on that wave. Especially with Cammy, I think he's going to hinder them a lot. No offense to Cammy, but that's just how I feel. We're not going to be getting Cold War Cammy this year. Hate to break it to you guys. It's not happening. He'll probably have pop-off games. Like everyone has pop-off games. Everyone has pop-off maps, But in the grand scheme of things, poor Nasty for not really being able to upgrade, but he definitely probably has like some belief in these players, as he should. I mean, Snoopy and Purge is like a pretty like interesting SMG duo like to work around. But at the same time, I also thought Purge was going to upgrade as well, like try to upgrade. I thought that's a player with a lot of potential. Maybe other players in the league just aren't seeing it the way I'm seeing it, but that's another player that I thought was going to take the next step, and get onto a better team. But I think Kenny to LA Thieves, not really much options if we even like look at the roster mania thing. Can't get onto Optic, can't get on the Heretics, can't get on the Thieves. I mean, is Scrap really going to want to play with like Nasty? Probably not. I think he's looking for more of an X factor in terms of how to win, because that's been a hump he's been trying to get over. Not gonna get onto FaZe, especially with Draza there. Definitely not gonna get onto FaZe. He could have gone to Koi, honestly. I would have much rather preferred that. Like, definitely probably would have been a better choice getting on a Koi, but maybe Joe's probably thinking get a better AR, but now I'm like, where are the AR options now? Not going to get into Falcons. That wouldn't really have been a roster upgrade. Surge, I mean, not really much pieces after that. So in terms of top teams, like Koi is probably the last team we could get onto. That would have been like a good dynamic. Him, Joe, Real, Kleenex. That could have been an interesting dynamic, but now we're not going to see that. But that would have been very interesting. That would have been a way better dynamic, honestly. But to each their own. And their pace actually fucking would have been great on that team. Their pace would have been super duper on that team. But instead, now he's on Boston. And that's all I can really say. He's literally just on Boston. He's going to have an average year. Not going to help his stock at all. And, probably not going to be able to get on like a top 4 top 5 team after this, maybe top 5 team, but I think some challenger players are probably gonna make some waves this year, and they're gonna like skip over him in like that like assembly line. I think that's what's gonna happen. So on to the next topic. Cloud9 move. I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm not gonna say it, but they put C9 Arian. I'll just say that C9 Arian. They promote him to head coach. I mean, Accuracy's no longer the head coach of the team. I don't know a thing about this guy. I don't know his knowledge or experience as a coach, but I like the fact, just being, from my POV, giving someone that probably most of the public would view as an unknown variable a chance at this is really cool to see. But in terms of impact on the team, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know anything about him. I this is the first time I heard his name, honestly. First time I heard his name, so I have no idea. But I mean, like, that Cloud9 team probably not going to be that great. I mean, I'm looking at the options available. I mean, we're probably going to get into this at the end. We're going to get into this at the end, like just playing with some rosters just a tad bit. But we're going to play with them a bit, and then, yeah, we're going to play with the rosters a bit and just see what's up. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really even know what to say about I don't even know what to say about this. There are a lot of people that know him, so I mean, I just like don't know. I'd have to do some more research on that, or ask some people, to be honest. I have some people to ask about him, but yeah, so that's that one. And I want to get into this scrap thing. So scrap, this was like 9 days ago, but I'm gonna bring this up from Tac Reb's thing. I'm even gonna play with the music. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted, but this pretty much goes to what I was like talking about. I think I talked about in like a video earlier this week, that like Scrap and Hydra probably felt when it came to Envoy and Ghosty that, you know, these guys just aren't getting kills. You know, that's what they're thinking about. Like, whenever like we aren't doing as well, like we don't really have anyone to lean on. But I think it's a fault to like the dynamic of the team. Like, I don't really think Envoy and Ghosty were put in positions to be able to do that just based off the team dynamic. So I think when it's finally time for them to like maybe have a pop-up game, you know, I mean, I don't know, but you know, that's like sort of an excuse for them, sort of not. I mean, can't really defend not being able to get kills. I mean, everyone gets put into situations on the map where you just gotta win your ones or do whatever. But I think the team dynamic and what's expected for them on this team with Scrap and Hydra on the team definitely should have some sort of an influence to like the performance when it comes to getting kills and everything, especially with Hydra and Scrap not being on the hill as much. Emphasis on Hydra. But we're going to get in just in this 15-second clip of what Scrap said.
Fine. It's not the controller. It's not the controller. The team can't buy a fucking kill. I think we had bad sleep.
And I think right here is like fucking trying to make a joke. I think right there is like trying to make a joke. But that pretty much explains their roster. But, you know, a question mark I'm having. So if you're worried about your team not being able to get kills, why are you picking up Kenny? I mean, Kenny pretty much proved this year that he can't really get a kill. And you're picking him up. And then picking up a BZ. I think this might be one of those scenarios, because we've seen it in the past where a team just tries to talent stack, but there's not really a rhyme or reason, especially when it comes to like how the dynamic's going to work. They're just focused on picking up the talent pieces and then figuring it out after. But I think that might be a mistake in this scenario, but we'll see. But I have a hot take on LA Thieves roster that I'm going to make, but that's going to be saved for like the roster when all the rosters are announced. But yeah, I mean, I think it's more just the dynamic and just like the players Scrap and Hydra are. I mean, what do you expect from like your teammates when, you know, a majority of the objective responsibilities on them? Same way Christopher Simp had that, but I mean, he's like one player, but he was able to still sort of make it work. But we saw his downtrend near the end of the year. But what do you really expect, you know? What do you expect when they're not set up in that position? We saw how Ghosty was playing in MW3 when, you know, he actually got to like have more freedom. He was actually getting kills. That's what made you guys pick him up. Actually, I mean, not pick him up. He was already on the team before them, but that's what made him keep him. And then you take the player that he was in MW3, completely change how he's playing, and then expect him like to get, that stuff just doesn't make sense to me. That's how that makes. I think that's copium. And I think there's even like some people in the comments. I think Scrap's career in a nutshell, the excuses. Yeah, but I think it's just dynamic that ghosting, like, what can you really expect from them when, that's probably, I don't know. It's like telling I was going to make some sort of like a soccer reference, but you know what? I'm just not going to do it. Not going to do it. So now we're going to get into like another thing right here before we so we're getting near the end. We're hitting the hour mark. We actually hit the hour mark. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. Oh yeah, and even like seeing that on the side, Zoom Rex to the new FaZe Vegas announcement. I think that's just PR. Zoom was like, man, that looks so good. I think I had that as a tab. I deleted it. Zoom was like, man, that looks so good. Yeah, that's PR. There's no way people actually think that looks good. The color scheme, sure, but the rest of it, I don't know about that one, blah. But no secret, the CDL developers did twine, but we're gonna get to what Den said here because as a person who like thought about being a coach, it's kind of hits home a little bit. As I take another sip for my water at the hour mark of the Borito Talk podcast with no commercial break, an hour straight recording. I'm super duper impressed. So I'm gonna read what Den says here. I'm not gonna read all of it because there is like another section, but I'm gonna read this section. Okay. So Den says, it's no secret that the Call of Duty League and the developers of the game can't intertwine as harmoniously as we'd like as a competitive scene. Okay. I thought he made a mistake. This either from the communication breakdown in the pipeline, priority in vision and items, or implementation lag. Therefore, any decisions we need to make stem outside the game in bold letters, meaning format changes to make regular season more exciting, coach inclusion, benefits up and coming coaches who can now prove they belong, or GA overhaul. I think I just read that really bad. My bad. At the end of the day, the CDL is somewhat handcuffed in what they can and can't do, and the best way to break those chains is by facilitating a more exciting product to showcase the audience and beyond. With this in mind, at the end of May, I approached the league with some suggestions, some more controversial than others, to improve the CDL product that doesn't rely on the developers. The notes were as followed. Coach integration in-game, in brackets experimental. Current situation. Coaches are limited to out-of-game support roles with no real-time impact on gameplay beyond preparation and between maps. Problem. Coaches are critical to a team's success, yet their presence is invisible during broadcasts and under-leveraged in storytelling. Let's be real. We have some vocal personalities behind these teams and aren't afraid to say what's on their minds. Proposed solutions. Test limited in-game coach interactions. We actually saw this at EWC and felt like it was a positive enough to continue to experiment what looks like in the new season. Feature coaches more prominently on broadcast through mic'd up segments, strategy breakdown, storytelling. I love that one. And then I guess we're going to get to the next part because he like puts it into two different sections. Okay. Okay, he moved to the freaking gentleman's agreement. Okay. CDL coach inclusion to map strategy. Extend countdown time. Okay. And I'm not really going to get into GAs, but I want to start with this coaches thing first. I think it's a great idea because we see it in other esports where coaches are actually on the stage doing some. I know pretty much everyone, especially the old heads, it takes away the one last skill gap thing that we have in them, Screw that, man. Screw that. Screw that. If teams are good enough, I don't think a coach being behind players that aren't as good as the other team, I don't think that should be the end all be all when it comes to closing the skill gap. I don't think it would close the skill gap that much because it will close it to an extent, but teams that are better are still going to be better and they're also going to have coaches. So it's basically even. If both teams have the coaches, it's not going to make one team slightly better to close the gap. It's going to make both teams better so they're both going to go higher. You know, it's not like one team goes up, the other stays the same. You know, one's going to go up and the other's going to go up. You know, it's parallel. It's parallel influence on the game. It actually made coaches useful. But as we saw at EWC, you know, I was seeing Crowder behind FaZe when they were playing that Miami Skyline hardpoint, and the mistakes they're making, they're still making them, you know? So it's like, you can have coaches behind players, but it doesn't mean all of them are going to be good enough to like be able to like say stuff in the middle of the game. And there is a skill gap being a coach, being able to like pick your moments, when you should say stuff, when you shouldn't. You know, there's all these different things that could be put into the fold, into the mathematical equation of who's going to be better, who's not. That's a skill gap. It makes teams actually want to, you know, I want that coach because he brings this and this, as opposed to, you know, just picking up coaches, just say stuff in between maps. Make coaches a lot more useful, you know, make them actually worth it on the budget, you know. I think it would bring a lot of elements to the game, you know. They can also do post-game interviews, like, you know, like for the team, like we had a game plan where we're going to do this and this, obviously without being just super duper, like saying the actual strats, you know. I think it would make post-game interviews better if like the coaches, you know, it's like soccer, like the coaches are speaking, because not all the players want to talk all the time. You can make the coaches speak. A lot more of the coaches are more well-spoken than the players and could probably say a lot more in post-game interviews. I think it would actually make coaches better. Coaches beefing with each other, like my team does this, your team does this, you know, it'd add another layer. There's so many elements that this adds, just this one thing with coaches being more included. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And to be honest, a lot of these coaches are pretty much non-factors. I don't even think a lot of the public, a lot of the CDL fans even know who half these coaches are. They don't even know if half the teams even have a coach. Like, I'm pretty sure a majority of the league just knows Clay. They may know Ultras because, you know, like they've like seen them in the documentaries. LA Thieves, Miami, but like the other half, like I don't think people know Ronnie's the coach of Boston. I don't think they know Magic's the assistant coach. I don't even think I don't think a lot of people even knew like Marky B was on LA. You know, there's a lot of like coaches I don't even feel people even knew were on these teams because like they don't say anything, and bringing them more into the spotlight will highlight everybody. I think it'll make every single aspect of the game way more interesting. I would love to be a coach on the front line, taking the brunt of the public outcry about teams' performances. I would love to have that role. It takes a lot of the burn off the players. Like, how's like the team playing? You know, like give like the coach more responsibility. Obviously, it's up to the players at the end of the day. It's not like soccer where managers have formations and it's up to players to go execute. It's a little bit different in Call of Duty, but it could still be somewhat along the same lines. I would love to do post-match interviews all the time, talking about, oh yeah, like the team today, you know, like he was kind of tired today, so like it was in full fitness, you know, soccer shit. No, but I think this would be way better in every aspect. And if you want to talk about things I don't understand, something I also don't understand is this right here. So this where it all started, I feel, was Karma going into Benji's chat. Karma realizing he's probably going to get clip farm for this, but basically in Benji's chat he says, no coaches on stage, GG's, a bunch of wussies, I'm big sad, think it's the players crying, I don't know, didn't waste my time with the call, I didn't want to hear it. And so where do I start first? I'm going to start with Parasite's reaction. So he said, God forbid the people want to add something new and interesting that could have possibly given other people spotlight and more opportunities while adding to our stale ass esport. F me, this generation sucks. You know, couldn't agree more. And then I guess I'm gonna go to Ben Jake. I forgot what he said. I'm not sure how deep it is. I need to pause. So he said no coaches on stage mid-match. Okay, that's all he said. He was just asking a question. But so Scrap goes, and it's probably on like COD Clipped, I think. I don't know. Who would this be on? Because Scrap told Zuma that it was actually like the player, that it was actually like the league that it was the league that said no to this, but I'm not sure if that's true. Okay, I don't even know where that was. I think it was Scrap Zuma. Let me type that in and just see if it. I always forget if Zuma's name's 2 A's or 2 M's. Okay, so here it is.
Okay, so Ernie texted me and he said that there was a call. And he said there was a call, but I don't think it was the players, it was the league. It was the league who made the decision. So the league made the decision of not having coaches on stage.
Well, what was the reason that was given on the call?
I don't know. Ernie wasn't on the call. So
right, so we gotta get a hold of someone who is on the call.
So it's completely speculation. Okay. So let's see what people are saying to this. So we're just lying now. Okay, so when it comes to things like this, I don't know who to believe, but I definitely don't fully believe the players unless there's actually proof. Because especially when it comes to GAs, which is another part we're gonna get into after this. When it comes to GAs, you got pros going on Zuma's stream. I didn't say this, I didn't say that, but then behind closed doors, they're voting other things, aka Simp. I specifically remember that one. Not going to let that one go. We're actually going to get to him in a bit. Not done with Christopher quite yet. But I don't really believe this. Like, I know, like, the league now, especially when it comes to maps, which is good, is now just like, okay, this is in, this is out. We're not leaving it up to you. And I do like the aspect of not fully leaving to players' hands, especially when it comes to GAs, which we'll get into. But I don't think the league would even have any opposition against this because it has nothing to really do with them, you know? It has nothing. It doesn't even affect them in any way. If anything, it like makes the league better. So it would never actually affect them to say, yeah, no, like we don't want the coaches on stage. This would have to be a player decision, in my opinion. Like just from the way it looks, it would have to be a player. Like why would the league say no? Like, it's not like, it has nothing to do with branding or logistics, anything legal. It's coaches being up on stage. Why would they care? Why would they actually care? Why would they care? I don't really believe it, but I mean, I'm not going to believe or deny anything because obviously I just don't know. But one thing, Christopher simply thought he was slick, but I screenshotted this on my iPhone. I thought this was hilarious. So he even second what Scrap said, which makes me want to believe it even more because now 2 people are saying it. Players only gave feedback from EWC after the event. We never had a vote for anything. A W narrative though. Laughing emoji. And then here's the part I found interesting and hilarious, and he deleted all these tweets, which is even more sus. So somebody says, so what was the feedback? Meaning, so what did you guys tell the league? And Simp says, I don't know. Go ask the league who has the feedback. Laugh my ass off. I'm like, come on, Simp, man. Come on, man. And then someone right after, he's asking what you and your team said about it. Don't be naive. And then, like, he got ratioed. And then, yeah. And then he got ratioed. And then someone said, Simp acting braided on purpose. No wonder BZ left him for Hydra. That was uncalled for. That's actually just, like, a vile out of that guy. But bro said all of that. Like, and then he gets asked and, you know, just doesn't say. Which makes me believe because Simp was one of the people in Zuma stream. I remember that day where they were talking about snipers in, but FaZe is one of the teams that voted it out. I'll never forget that. And ever since then, I'm like, I can't believe everything I see. Just can't believe everything I see. And they could give feedback. I mean, maybe it was the league, maybe it wasn't. I mean, like, we'll never know until we actually know. But, I mean, I don't really trust, like, the players because I know a lot of them, you know, just trying to keep the PR, trying to keep, like, the front face good. You know, behind closed doors, like, yeah, fuck that shit. Because I know a lot of players would have voted for it out, except for maybe, like, Optic, maybe Ultra, you know, Miami. But I think majority of the league probably voted it out. I don't know. But I think a lot of them probably got, like, peer pressured into it, too, by the way. But, oh, school got blah, blah, blah. Stupid. I don't like that. I think it would be a way more prominent role, like, for coaches. It would actually make them so much more useful, make things so much better. So much better. And it would be up to teams to find the perfect dynamic. It's not like a coach is just on stage now and now they just say whatever they want. Obviously, have to be consulted with the team of, like, where we want you in or what they think is better. Creates a whole new dynamic. I think it would be great. But yeah, there's that. And then we're gonna get into the second part. I just want to say something quick about GAs real quick. So GAs, something I don't understand about GAs. So actually, I actually understand everything, but some I just want to like propose. So the league comes out with all the rules on the website of everything banned, the maps and everything. It's all on the CDL website. Everything that's banned, everything else. GAs, for those of you who don't know, but I think everyone knows, it's a gentleman's agreement between the players. It's not, it goes beyond the actual rules. There's the rules, and then there's GAs on top of that. GAs are extra. GAs is not the book, okay? It's not the book. It's extra agreements between the players. So when it comes to things like snipers, let's say if in the CDL rules, snipers were not banned, but then pros go in G8 after. Technically speaking, anyone can pull out a sniper in game. They're not going to be disqualified. The only thing that's going to happen is the rest of the players are going to hate them. But they're probably going to only hate for so long, and then everyone's just going to pull out snipers, and we're going to use snipers. It'll be great. So all it really takes is a player to just start doing shit and make it normal. Like, GAs is only if you want like most of the pros to hate you, but I think some people are just scared to be Mavericks. Like, that's why we need a player like Shotzi to just like break a GA and just put the sniper in. If the sniper's not banned on the COD League website, let's take a look at the COD League website right now, actually. Let's take a look at this COD League website. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the actual rules. I forgot where the rule. Okay, competitive settings right here. Okay, so they got the map, the modes, and everything, okay? They got the map modes and everything. Restricted items is the big thing. So, restricted items, all LMGs, all marksmans, all shotguns, all launchers, all special. You want to know what's not banned in here? Snipers. Snipers are not banned in the CDL settings, which means technically players can use them. They just don't want the other players to hate them, technically speaking. But I'm thinking if a player like Shotzi, like who's really gonna like excommunicate, blacklist fuck Shotzi? Like nobody. Like no one's gonna just pull out that sniper, brother. Come on, Dashy. Come on, Brandon. I know you got it in you. Pull out that sniper, baby. Let's make this shit interesting again. Let's fucking do it, man. All it takes is one person. If it isn't on this list, it's free game. It's really free game. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. Really is. But like a lot of players just don't want everyone else to hate them, understandably so, but you know. Can I drag this? It literally won't let me drag. I don't know what it's on, but okay, but yeah, this is pretty much like the whole list of banned stuff. So snipers aren't even banned. So person could have pulled them out, would have been just fine. But that's something I always like thought about GAs. Like all it takes is just one person to break it. Like, and they're not gonna get forfeited. They're not gonna lose the match for their team. It just means, you know, everyone start using snipers now. Sure, it doesn't matter. Makes it interesting right away. What the heck is everyone else gonna do? Just gonna use it, and it's gonna become normal. They're gonna hate you less because now it's just normal. But that's all. But that's just what I thought. I've had this thought for years. I'm like, well, it's not like fucking. It just takes one person to just go like, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. I'm just gonna use it. It takes one player. That's it. Technically speaking. But I mean, I was going to play around with rosters near the end of the podcast as we wind down here towards the end. But let's take a look at the free agents, man. Like, so we got Abe still on the market, Arcity's Beans, Geo, Gwyn, Insight, Kismet's on Falcons. But we got Cramp, Lunars. Nastie is pretty much going to be on Boston, I guess. But talks could fall through. Nero, Johnny, Awakening, Priestess, guys. So I'm going to put together some of these rosters that are pretty much rumored. Rumored. Let's actually say that, rumored. That way we could take some names off the board and kind of put together like the rest of the pieces of the puzzle as we wind down here. We're not going to take too long on this segment because, you know, where's Skies? I literally just saw him. So Skies, and who's their last one? It was Gwyn, okay. So then Breach would be Snoopy, got to move him. So I'm going to put Trakes, if he's even here. Oh yeah, he is. Put Trakes in there. And then Boston would be Snoopy. And then what the heck's his face? What is his face? We just said it. Nastie. Okay. Bad choice for Nastie, but we digress. Then Kismet on Falcons. So we pretty much have, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rosters. Only 3 rosters left. Cloud9, Ravens. Surge is pretty much locked. And we also need like the 4th AR for Koi. They actually might just get inside again. There's not really that many options. Like, they actually need a true AR if they're keeping Kleenex. Because they got Joe and they got Real. So they actually need real AR options. So a lot of people it takes off the board here. Dylan Rex, I don't think so. I think they want like a higher tier play. Honestly, I was gonna say Exceed, but you know that's just not good PR for that. Fellow, they wouldn't get him. I know they wouldn't get Gunless. There's a chance they could get Illy. I mean, I could see that happening, even though I wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't. But you know, it could happen. Cobra's also an option if they just don't want to. They could get freaking Neum as well. Like, there's some options here. If they get Neum, that might be kind of interesting. It would be like a fresh new look Ultra Koi. That'd be pretty good. But as you can see, there's not many good AR options when you actually look at it. There's not many. Not many. Take a look at the Royal Ravens team. Like, actually, maybe Ultra gets Slasher. Like, that would be interesting too, hey? If Ultra got Slasher. There's a slight possibility in that, but I don't like the odds of that. This Cloud9 roster could be anybody. Like, there's so many bandits left, but I don't even know who that would be. Like, so many rosters are already filled now. Who would Cloud9 even be? I don't even want to guess, because I thought that Rocker roster should be. I didn't think it would, but get like Neum in there, Fire in there, and maybe throw someone out, you know, like get some sort of thing. I think one of these teams should get Standy, though. I think Standy should be on one of these 2 teams. Like, maybe he's on Cloud9. I'm just going to, like, build a roster myself. I don't even care. Build a roster myself. I'm going to put Standy. I really want to Exceed on a team, even though I don't think it's going to happen. Abe and Standy could actually be really good. Abe and Standy. I actually really want Abe on a team, not going to lie. That could be really good. Abe, Standy. I don't want Priest. I don't want Awakening. I don't want Rex. I don't want Spart. Diamond Con. He was kind of inconsistent, but that could work. But they would need another AR. Who would that other AR be? That's why I just have so many issues with ARs. Not that many good ARs. I could see Slasher with like Pro Loot. I don't know. These ARs just suck, man. These ARs just suck. Like, this is why I wish like Encourage like didn't quit, because like he would be a decent option for this, but these AR options are really, really, really bad. Really, really bad when it comes to the standards of the rest of the league. Yeah, I actually give up on this. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, guys, with that being said, though, I mean, that's been it's been another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I don't even want to guess. I just want to be surprised and just have my reactions. That's what I want to do. Let's just react when it happens. Let's not even put this shit together. Let's not put this shit together. Because now there's pretty much only 3 roster spots left. And then 2 teams that have to like fill, because I'm sure like that Vancouver Surge spot is probably going to go to that Challengers team, Omit. So yeah, guys. But with that being said, guys, please, I mean, it would really help me out if you followed on Spotify, especially. I don't care about Apple Podcasts. Who cares? Followed on Spotify, liked on Spotify, you know, put those on. I mean, usually when you like, you get the automatic downloads. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. You know, that's all I ask. I don't even care if you share the podcast. Just follow on Spotify. Follow the Borito Talk podcast on Spotify. Gonna try to be doing new podcasts every Monday or Tuesday. Trying for Monday. If not Monday, it'll always be Tuesday. Either or of those days. Borito Talk Tuesday has more of a ring to it, but I'm doing Borito Talk Monday this time. But yeah, guys, if more stuff comes out, I mean, we're going to talk about it. That's what we're here. Going to be doing some throwback, maybe, like giving some history lesson podcasts. It's up to me just to put it together to last an hour. But I could probably make that happen. And we got some guests that are going to be coming on the Borito Talk podcast. Got some interesting conversations. Some interesting conversations. But yeah, with that being said, guys, enjoy your work week. This has been Borito. I need a new outro, by the way. But bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time.